few things that I'm missing out of it personally, but.
All right. And I see you rustling your paper over there. Did we skip something?
No, actually, it kind of goes along with what he was talking about on the Iron Man, Avengers, Marvel, all that good stuff. The company Hot Toys is coming out with a Captain America, Winter Soldier, Black Widow figure. And speaking of sculpts, I was looking at the pictures of it, and at first I thought it was just pictures of Scarlett Johansson, but it's actually the face of the figure.
So it's very lifelike then.
Very lifelike, very well detailed.
What some people would call faptastic.
Yeah. Well, it's 1/6 scale with 30 points of articulation, so
you can put her legs behind her
yeah.
head.
And if you want to work out your ultimate Black Widow fantasy, they do have figures from Iron Man 2 and Avengers of Black Widow.
So you're saying you could have ScarJo triplets?
You could. You could do like a Chinese acrobat thing with the 3 Black Widow figures, but they're, like I said, they're very real detailed. They have real hair, real clothes. So I'm sure those clothes come with zippers for those of you that are wanting to work out your fat fantasy. They retail somewhere between $200, $300. So these are.
That's still cheaper than one of those life-size dolls.
Yeah, these are.
Are you talking about the real dolls?
Yes, those are the ones.
Oh God. Yeah, the
That's
$3,000 masturbatory tool
at 1/6 the size and 1/20 the cost.
But yeah, they are a pricey figure for your, I guess, for your more upscale collector. They've got a whole series of figures based off Marvel and other properties.
You know, there's going to be that one rich kid whose mommy and daddy go out and buy him the figure and give it to him, and he just rips it out of the box.
Yeah.
And nerd senses everywhere just go berserk.
Well, the trick is you just keep
There's
the box
a disturbance in
and
force.
That way you have the resale value. And
yeah, but I'm saying, you're going to have that spoiled rich kid. Mommy and daddy aren't going to care to keep.
But you know what?
Keep the box.
I mean, as much as I enjoy collectibles, and believe me, I enjoy collectibles. If I buy something, it's to play with it.
yeah.
Like, I don't buy something and just like, yep, that looks really cool, sitting there not being touched by anyone or anything that I wipe free of dust every couple of weeks. That's granted. I've got a 3-foot-tall Superman that's doing that, still in the box. That was a nice little Christmas gift.
Yeah, most of my stuff I open too, but these days I try to keep the box as much as possible.
Yeah.
Just because every once in a while I'll see online or on that Toy Hunter show where they'll have an item like, oh, this would have been worth $500 more if you had the box to it.
Yeah. That's a kick in the shins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, John, you guys came over about the time we were just getting ready to start having a cookout earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to share with the world that I almost set John on fire.
Yep.
I'm sure it won't be the last time.
Oh, probably not. This seems to be a recurring theme in our group that somebody always comes close to being inflamed.
Or actually set aflame. That's what happens when it's like, oh, these coals are kind of smoking. Let me pour lighter fluid on it.
Oh, and by the way,
that doesn't work.
Grimball wants to know if they took Scarlett Johansson's hair and stuck it on there.
Well, from what I read, I don't know if it's her hair, but it sounds like they may be using real hair for it, or it looks like it. Well, there's people out there that sell their hair.
That's true. It could be donated hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, it's no different
if
than
they had
like
her real hair, then the sales would go through the roof, and then
people
next
pay
thing you know,
$200-$300 just to sit there and just smell it.
Well, you buy the figure, and then you get your cloning apparatus. You start buying stuff to build a cloner.
Because we can clone so many things now. I think that it actually would push the cost out past the average person's reach. $60 for a figure is expensive, but if that's actually ScarJo's hair, that's just obscene.
I doubt it is, but you never know. But
all right, so getting back, we're talking about. I'm bad at grilling.
Yeah, Steve's a member of the Fire Nation, apparently.
I put a little too much fluid on there and then took a lighter to it and
because you know the smoke and the steam coming off of it wasn't setting the lighter fluid aflame. You really got a picture. You know, we're sort of outdoors. We're outside underneath a patio, and there's smoke and steam coming off the grill, and he pours on some lighter fluid, and there's no flame. Well, you know, obviously he pours on a little bit more, but there's still no flame. Well, now he doesn't know what's going on, so he decides he's like, well, psh, whoosh, just dumps it on there, just pours it on there. Well, that still doesn't work, so he decides to get the lighter. As we're standing there, he turns it on, the wind catches, and it's whoosh, fireball.
Big fireball. I lost a good amount of hair off my hand. I wouldn't be surprised if John lost a couple chin hairs on that, some arm hairs.
I don't think so, but it did. The flame did seem to come right at me. From my angle, it looked like it went around Steve and came at me.
Yeah, totally missed.
All right, so I just thought that we should share that.
So so everybody knows, Steve's a firebender.
Yeah, obviously. This somewhat leads into our first story that we've got here. John, you just told us about this right before we started recording, the frozen blood portraits.
Right. A guy named Mark Quinn, he's apparently a British artist. He does self-portraits of himself in his own blood. He makes molds of his face every 5 years, and then draws his own blood. I think he draws up to 5 liters of his own blood over 5 months, so he's not taking it all at once. So he wouldn't have got it past the first one. But he does one every 5 years to show how much he's aged, and then he pours the blood into the mold, freezes it, keeps them in a refrigerator unit set at minus 15 degrees, so they don't turn into a bloody mess. And
I gotta be honest. Sounds kind of like a serial killer. I gotta be honest. And you know I can almost guarantee he's licked at least one of those sculptures.
Some of them do look like great popsicles.
Well, quick little Google search wasn't that difficult to find this guy's website. It's markquinn.com, MARCQUINN, and he's got a gallery up there of these sculptures. I mean, they're more or less sculptures. And the first one, it looks like...
It looks like a frozen body off of Everest.
It is a terrible, terrible prop from an 80s horror movie. Like, these are just terrifying. And then we got the one from 1996.
That one kind of looks almost like his head sloping to the side. I wonder if he had some problems with that. Or...
He probably had some difficulty freezing that one. Yeah. Maybe he had a stroke, though. Who knows?
From 2001.
It looks very Hellraiser.
That looks like Nemesis from Resident Evil.
Oh, it does, actually.
Oh, yeah. God. In 2006, I think this is the latest one that we've got.
And that's the Dalai Lama.
Yep, 2006 is the latest that we've got. But these are so disturbing.
I mean, they're to be fair, they're fairly horrifying, but I mean, more power to the guy. I mean, that's every 5 years and 5 months he makes a new blood face. I want to make sure. Are we entirely certain it's his blood?
That's what the article said. I don't know the guy, so.
Oh God. Charon wants to know if we can get blood Black Widow figures with real hair.
Well,
okay. I think that you've got an obsession, and you might want to.
To be fair, Scarlett Johansson is pretty smoking hot.
Yeah.
I mean, the Avengers only made it worse. They put her in latex.
But would you want a Scarlett Johansson blood sausage?
Blood sausage? No.
That's essentially what you're getting here.
I'd like to give her a blood sausage.
But yeah, these are. Oh Jesus! Here, I'm actually, since we've got people listening and saying stuff, I'm going to
linked into the chat.
Toss that up in the chat room.
Yeah, they're pretty horrifying. I mean, if you wanted to,
horrifying is a very harsh word. I mean, they're grotesque.
It's a head made of blood. I think horrifying is acceptable.
The one
here.
that you got up now, that one kind of looks like John Carpenter's The Thing. You always expect to sprout crab legs and walk away.
Yes. Yes, that is.
Yeah, that is the very first one in 1991. But I think horrifying is a perfectly reasonable way to describe this.
Yeah. I would say grotesque.
Grotesque. It's all the same.
No, because horrifying would be like you're actually like somebody showed you that and it elicits a sense of fear.
Okay.
Grotesque is a sense of disturbed and gross disgustingness.
I think he should.
I would say that your opinion in this matter is probably a little skewed, considering that whenever we were talking about this before the show, your first reaction was, "Oh, I'd like to take a lick of that."
Salty.
No. That's it. It's all iron.
I think he should maybe take and make an extra one, and then like do it time lapse and let it melt, just to completely,
that's not that was
ruin
such an art project.
just to completely ruin any attempts of getting any kind of a nightmareless sleep for the rest of
And
your
then
life.
and then you can be a pretentious asshole about it and say that it's something symbolic about blah 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 aging and.
Well, I mean, technically, it's not symbolic. It literally is.
Shut the fuck up, Jake.
Like, symbolic would be if you held up a stone and, you know.
It's art. It has to be symbolic, otherwise it's not art.
I don't
it has
really
to be
think it's
objective,
art.
Otherwise, it's not art.
I like big words. So let's move along.
Is that our? By the way, is that our new hashtag? Shut up, Jake.
Yeah. Hashtag set up Jake. Hashtag goddamn it, Randall. So this Malaysian flight business has been crazy.
That's the most literal kind of crazy. It's Malaysia crazy.
I mean, like this is playing out like a low budget action flick.
Yeah.
I think it's actually playing out literally just like the Langoliers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the weirdest part being that their cell phones are still getting reception. They're still in the phone network.
Which
Now,
the
I've
scariest
not seen that
thing?
confirmed. I've heard reports, but I've not seen it actually confirmed by any big.
The scariest thing
news
about
outlets.
this is that means that Stephen King's stories are coming true, and he probably knows it.
I mean, you know, better than Dean Koontz's stories coming true.
Yeah.
Ass weasels. That's what they called the monster. What was it, Dreamcatcher? I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
Literally called them ass weasels.
No, to be fair, I actually had read the book and seen the movie, and the book is substantially better. Like in the movie, you know, at the end, it's kind of strange. You know, the whole ass weasel thing it's an incubation period. The part that still has me cringing is when the dude's sitting on the toilet seat trying to hold the little fucker down.
Oh
there
god,
in
that
the
was
toilet.
terrifying. And then
And then he
drops
knocks
it-
all his toothpicks.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh well, this thing is gonna try to rip open my asshole. Better get a toothpick."
Well, the thing is, he uses toothpicks the same way people use cigarettes as a stress relief. That's why they call him Beaver. Not because he's a coos hound, because he likes to chew wood. Well, toothpicks. I shouldn't say chew wood.
I'm just saying, you know, you could put my biggest vice in front of me, and between that and having a weasel go up my ass, I'm gonna stay on that toilet seat.
Well, it's because your biggest vice is internet porn, so you could stay on the toilet seat.
Fair. Oh,
Do we have another message?
we do, but I'm confused. So update, I haven't read much about it. Are you talking about the link? Because that's what we just spent like the last 10 minutes talking about.
I think he means the Malaysian.
The Malaysia. Yeah, we
flight.
did kind of get off track
okay,
there.
we
Yeah,
did.
we were.
So this flight, I believe it was last weekend, was on its way from somewhere to Bangkok, or Beijing, I believe. And about halfway there, it completely dropped off radar.
Gone, just poofed.
And now, details have been really slow coming back on this. Different reports have been surfacing, like Jake mentioned, the cell phones. There are reports that the cell phone calls going through to the missing people have been ringing through instead of going straight to voicemail, which suggests that the phones are still on and active and connected to the network.
Yep.
And this flight had, again, it dropped off radar, but there were also reports that the engines were still transmitting data, I believe it was up till 4 hours after the flight disappeared off radar, stating that everything was okay.
So I guess if there was any good news to be found from this story, it'd be that if you're in another dimension, your cell phones will still work. You might
Exactly.
not get the best service.
Exactly,
but-
just
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean,
it's
well,
just
you
like
may
Doctor
not be
Who.
able to answer them, but
yeah.
But now they're starting to find more and more evidence that suggests that this was all done intentionally, that the communication systems on board the plane were shut off from the inside, and that the plane was turned around and flown somewhere else. They believe that it could have landed safely on one of the islands out there, They're no longer thinking that their first theories, were it must have blown up, it must have gone down, something like that.
So they're
Lost.
I was just going to say they're on the island from
Lots
Lost.
of
There's
people
a
have been
smoke
making
monster.
that connection. Lots of people have been
Smoke
making that
monster
connection.
won't let them answer
Here's
their cell
what I don't
phones.
understand though. First off, there's